Hello and welcome to Toe2Toe. I'm Andy Scott. I'm delighted to say we've got a stacked lineup for you this week. Former world champion Chris-Billam-Smith and elite trainer Don Charles, both with me. Thank you for coming in today. Great to have you with us. We'll be hearing from them shortly. But first, I'm pleased to say we're joined by Tyson Fury's manager from Gold Star. It's Spencer Brown. Hello, Spencer.
How you doing, Andy? Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. I mean, there's lots to talk about with Tyson Fury, but you've got a lot of fighters, a lot of runners and riders at the moment, and I just want to touch on a couple of those names first. So, Agit Kabayel, I mean, he's the best of the chasing pack, isn't he? He's coming off this unbelievable win over Damien Kaneba. I say unbelievable atmosphere and a solid performance. What did you make of it all out there?
Yeah, it was. If you was out there, the crowd were unbelievable. It was. I've never seen anything like it, actually. All being going to fights in boxing for all these years, it was incredible. The atmosphere, I think anybody who was there will tell you it was one of the best atmospheres we've ever seen. And we only want the biggest names for Agit. We still want this Usyk fight desperately. That's where we want to end up as quickly as possible.
I know with the current situation, it's very, very unlikely that he can return to boxing a stadium in Ukraine. You would think that boxing someone like Kabayel in a big German stadium in the summer has a sort of a lucrative lure for him. How likely do you think that could be?
Well, we think we can sell 70,000 in Germany. We've awoke a sleeping giant, and I think it can only get bigger. And it will only get bigger, but we need the big names. Usyk, is the biggest name in the sport. Him and Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, they're the big names in the sport, and we want to get him over there. Obviously, it's not going to be cheap, but we are trying our hardest to get Usyk to go to Germany. And don't forget that the biggest population of his people are in Germany. So, it'd be huge. It'd be a huge event, and it would open up the German market massively.
It was interesting post-fight that he said, look, Tyson Fury's helped me out so many times. He's like a brother to me. I won't fight him. So that sort of leads us on to Tyson Fury. And we're all playing the game now, and we're hoping you can help. He's back. When do you expect him to fight, and who against realistically?
Look, there's 4 or 5 different opponents we're looking at. There's a few that tweak our interest. We're looking to. We are really down the road with the contract, so we've got a bit more work on them, or quite a bit more work on them. But we are down the road, and an announcement is imminent. And you will see Tyson back in the ring, and the opponent. We're looking and talking to various opponents at this very moment.
You represent Jarrell Miller. Is that someone?
I will say as well, we're looking to get out in April.
April, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Arslanbek Makhmudov is a name that I've heard you say. I know you represent a number of heavyweights. Jarrell Miller is one of those. The likes of Wardley, Dubois don't feel like comeback fights. They feel like big fights and potential world title fights down the road, especially in Wardley's case. Is Makhmudov, would you say, the lead contender?
I'd say that he's in the top 3 or 4, yeah, most definitely. And we're looking at 5 or 6 different opponents. But yeah, he would be in the top. But that's not for me to announce. That's the promoters will announce that. Everybody's working very hard to get this fight underway. So that wouldn't be my position to actually announce that. But yes, all I can confirm to you is he is one of the 3 or 4 we are looking at very closely.
Back in April, and obviously we gather that will form some sort of, can call it a comeback fight. Do you think he still has it in him to become world champion once again?
Oh, most definitely. All reports back, and I speak to Tyson daily. He's really enjoying boxing again. He's enjoying it. He's in Thailand. Very hot, 50 degrees. He hasn't started sparring yet or anything, but he's having a great time. He's really, really enjoying his boxing, and he's really looking forward to coming back. Anybody, those boys sat there where you'll tell you the buzz of it all was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's active on his Instagram, and it's keeping us all hooked, really.
He's keeping us all informed, isn't he, on his Instagram? That's a certain.
Yeah,
he's Instagram crazy at the moment.
Let's be honest, he's keeping us all on our toes. If you come down one division to the cruiserweights, I was interested to see Zuffa Boxing, who are into the marketplace this weekend. They have announced Jai Opetaia as their signing at cruiserweight. I saw Gold Star on the poster. What do you think happens with Opetaia? He wants undisputed fights. There's a lot of question marks about how that's all going to play out. What can you tell us?
Well, I think it's quite easy, really. I think he will stay in the position he is with the belts. He might have signed for Zuffa, but Zuffa's in no position to put their own belts on. In future, they will be. Obviously, they're looking to be a massive powerhouse in boxing. And with this sign of Jai Opetaia, it looks like they've come right in at the highest level. I don't think there's too many more exciting fighters out there. I think you've got a gentleman there, Mr. Billam-Smith, who could actually fight Jai Opetaia. It'd be a great fight. I think we've tried to get that fight on before, and obviously we have an interest with Jai Opetaia. We have done for a long time. We got him all his fights in Riyadh season, so it's sort of carried on from there. But I think he's got to go for unified belts, and he can, we can still fight for belts at the moment. I've heard reports that Zuffa, he's going to go for a Zuffa belt. He doesn't need to. He can still fight for any other belt. Just because he signed with Zuffa, it doesn't mean they're just a promotional company, aren't they, at the moment?
Well, I can tell you, I can ask Chris later on, but we discussed it exclusively on the Toe2Toe podcast, so download it, Spence, wherever you get your podcast from. You get the full answers on Chris's take on it. One more before you go, because I don't want to keep you for too long. Hamza Shiraz, Diego Pacheco, purse bids. What can you tell me? And I wonder if the winner of that fight, as and when it happens, is being lined up for Canelo in September.
Well, listen, Frank and George Warren are working very hard, Rich, so are we all. We want the Pacheco fight. We wanted the Billy fight. Hamza Shiraz, what I love about him, he will fight anybody. But our ultimate goal is the man you just said. We want the Canelo fight, and we think he's in the position now with one more fight after Pacheco and Billy, whoever we're going to fight. He's in the position to take Canelo's crown. We really, really believe that.
Listen, you've given us a lot to get our teeth into there, Spencer. Thank you very much for joining us. That's going to set the headline writers a very busy afternoon. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll have an update soon enough with that Tyson Fury opponent.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as well. Let's bring these two gentlemen in. We'll come to the cruiserweights, but I want to bring you in, Don. I do, maybe falsely, I associate you as the doyen of heavyweight knowledge because you've trained so many successful ones. What do you make of Tyson Fury's return? If it's, let's say it's Makhmudov, that's putting 2 and 2 together, I'm getting 5, but he sort of hinted at Makhmudov there. Tyson Fury, heavyweight boxing better with him back?
Most definitely. He's a character. He brings a lot to the table. He brings he's an unpredictable guy. And we welcome him. I would certainly welcome him, and the boxing fraternity, I'm sure, would welcome his comeback.
One I could have asked him about there, but I saved it for you. Tony Yoka, very, very interesting. You train Tony. I talk about that chasing pack, and I don't mean that as an insult to anyone, but outside the champions, there's this big group of runners and riders that can all have a shot.
Sure.
Tony Yoka was the poster boy of French boxing. Probably is still the poster boy of French boxing. Is he the man in your stable you think that can challenge these guys and really make an impact? Most definitely. That is the plan. That is the plan. OK. Well, I'll come back to you shortly. Good to have you here, Chris. I mean, we could talk about
good to be here.
Bournemouth Football Club, couldn't we? And Semenyo and things like that. But he's sort of given us something to bite on there. Jai Opetaia, you've had a past with him. You've had your second child, and you've had this little period out, ready to get back. And when do you think that will be? And is Jai Opetaia one of those that you're sort of interested in, or are there other champions, Noel McKaylian, obviously one of the ones that's called you out in the past? Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of call-outs recently. You're doing something right. Yeah, the longer I'm out the ring, the more I get called out. So it's there's so many opportunities there. I'm weighing up the options now. Me and my team are talking to everyone, so we're open to offers. Yeah, interesting. Overnight, it's broken as well. Cinco de Mayo weekend. Zurdo's going to fight Benavidez. You know, David Benavidez coming up to your division. That's an interesting fight. And how long do you think before you could get a title shot, if you take into account where all the champions are?
It could be next. It could be one more fight than a title shot. I think it'll be no more than that. I've come back and beaten Brandon Glanton, who's highly ranked and people rate. So beat him convincingly, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fresh and ready to go. So let's see how the politics of boxing work out, and then we can get to work.
This is, you know, when you fought Glanton and he had a lot to say and brought something different out of you. You know, you kept your counsel, but did your talking with your fists, which is not the first time you've done it. The best days are still to come with Chris-Billam-Smith, would you say?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It was. I felt comfortable in the ring that night, but there's so much more to come from me, and I think the best is yet to come. I'm excited.
I know you want the bright lights of Vegas or Madison Square Garden, but could we get, you know, Benavidez, Zurdo, Michelian, or Opetaia to the Bic in Bournemouth? Can they do it on a wet, rainy night in Bournemouth? I don't know.
I know 3,500 people would be bang up for that. But yeah, it's. I'm so lucky to have that support in the town. But then a lot of them are calling for an overseas fight in America, whether that's MSG or Vegas. So we'll see. Yeah,
I'm sure it's very, very interesting. Talking of Americans, it brings me on to the heavyweights. I don't know if you saw this breaking overnight from stateside, so the source is over there, and you know, yet to verify it, but Derek Chisora against Deontay Wilder. A lot of people thought it would be Usyk Wilder, but this rumour has sort of caught fire a little bit. You worked very successfully on a number of occasions with Derek. People talking about that as a warm-up fight for Wilder to fight Usyk later on. I mean, that's a big mistake to take Derek Chisora as a warm-up, isn't it?
I would say so. I wouldn't consider Derek, irrespective of where he is in his career at the moment. I wouldn't choose him as a comeback fight or a warm-up fight. That's disrespectful. I think Wilder, especially in his last few fights, I certainly wouldn't choose Derek Chisora as that. But nevertheless, if it's real, then let it be.
Let it be, exactly right. May I ask you also about Daniel Dubois, Fabio Wardley? They're still at the top of their game. You know, Daniel's still a very, very young man. Fabio Wardley is a genuine world champion now. Where do you see Daniel Dubois under Tony Sims? How do you see that playing out? Could you see him as a future opponent for Tony Yoka, obviously, but also for Tyson Fury?
Most definitely. Daniel's young, and what he's already achieved is remarkable at his age. And heavyweights coming to where he's at the moment with his age, that's where it actually starts. Mm-hmm. So it's exciting for him. I've been a part of his career. Forever, it will always be a part of me, irrespective of we're not working together. But the young man, given the opportunity, yes, he will go on to become a heavyweight world champion once again.
Any ill feeling about how that all ended with Daniel? I mean, there was a lot of noise after, you know, the fight didn't go his way against Alexander Usyk. I don't think there's any shame in that. He's a generational talent, one of the best ever. There was Partygate, Gathering Gate, which you had to come out and front up, didn't he? He was late to the venue. The way it all played out at the end, did you have any, I don't know if regrets is the right word, but just about looking back, how it played out?
Disappointment is the word. I was obviously terribly disappointed in the way it ended, but it is what it is, and I have to focus on the positives. We were together for 2 years, and what we both done for each other for that 2 years will never leave me forever. So therefore, I will focus on the positives, and I wish him nothing but the best. And he will, like I said, I've said it numerous times, but I'll say it again. He's going to go on to become another world champion. He'll win it multiple times.
And just last one before you go, Usyk, you've been in the opposite corner to him. You know how good he is. Is he the best heavyweight of our generation?
Most definitely, it's unquestionable. Come on, not because he's beat everybody. Him and Fury, you could question the second fight in particular. Could have gone either way. He got the nod, and he's a generational great. And the guy's a magician. He really is.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to watch him, hasn't he? Well, however that journey now plays out, it's very, very interesting in the heavyweight division at the moment, and it's very, very interesting in the cruiserweights as well. Thank you to both of you. That is actually all we've got time for this week.